learn a little bit more about withholdings. So we'll see. But so before I wasn't thinking very much about how urgent withholdings was, and I wasn't taking it as serious. But if you think about it, if December 15th is when we want them to have their full amount of withholdings, like fully max, that's actually coming up in just a couple months here. And, I thought for a manager going out with 5K withholdings was good. And I thought, oh, good, 5K by the time they open up. So, all right, maybe 2,500 by the time January program hits. And we've had managers go out with less than that who've done well, and a lot who haven't. And so Mike really challenged my thinking about that and how we need to get our branches up to at least $5,000 withholdings by December 15th, and then do our darndest for DMs to get even more, ideally fully maxed out, not even maxed out, but at 10K. And so when I thought about this, well, of course, I told Mike, hey, well, I think we're in Wisconsin. I think they can go out with a little bit less. And, of course, he challenged that, and I have a little bit different belief. So decisions on territories, here's why. Decisions on territories are made by December 15th. Think about it. Danny and the DVMs are looking to make sure, like, these people are locked and loaded. And we can't count on hope. And I was using Alex as an example. He's like, Alex only has 1,000 withholdings. Is he okay? Like, he's going to sell like $50,000 by the time year-end banquet hits. Like, no worries. He's like, well, based on track records, you can't always take a look. Yeah, I believe in him and he has a talent, but where is it? So like all of our assistants, yeah, they could have it, but where's the proof? Because based on the last few weeks, the last few months for some of our leaders in training, it's not looking too hot. So how many times has someone said they're gonna have a big push and they don't, or I'll get in January and they don't? And even us as veteran managers who are really skilled and really good, how many times have we said we're going to do something and we didn't? So we can't count on hope that it's going to be there. December 15th ensures that it's there when the decision is ready to be made going into year-end banquet. So that's why number one is decisions are made in territories pretty quick. The why number two is leaders in training need more than that when they go out, and even in Wisconsin. And of course, Mike gave some examples and some analogies, and he thought, okay, for their branch experience to go out and have money, cash and confidence is so important. He said, think about this. Let's say they go out and they move territories. They go in their branch in a territory where they can't live, which probably happens half the time. So you think about how much it costs to live. And you think about an apartment rent. Now, you just got really cheap rent, but still, it's like with utilities and everything, $500 a month. So that's a couple grand right there. They might need a security deposit. Then there's a cell phone bill. There's furniture for their office. There's things that they need that adds up, and we don't want them depleting that right away. And yeah, they can get money throughout the summer, but that's not a guarantee right away, especially in the beginning of the summer. And so you want to think about, okay, a couple grand going out for living expenses, like right away, especially if they're paying their apartment rent up front, and then their office rent, even in Wisconsin, a couple grand. But if we want the Class A space that looks really nice, it's going to be probably more, plus a security deposit, right? So probably a couple grand up front. So right there, you're talking $4,000 just from a living space and an office. And then, like I said, their cell phone and then furniture. If you can get great deals like Chris on furniture, great. But still, yeah, they want to get it for free. But the reality of them not spending any money on furniture, I don't think is realistic. So let's say they only spend $500 on furniture, right? And then they need money for food, right? It's just like $1,000 for the summer or more. And then there's plus all the other expenses. So you think about it, just with a few main expenses, they're spending close to that $5,000 right away. So, and yes, some of these are personal expenses, some are business expenses, but they're still spending it. And a newer manager doesn't always grasp like their personal choices on finances as like that's the reason they're doing well. Sometimes they blame it on the business, right? So think about how good college students are typically managing money. They're not typically that great, right? And to open up an office as a 19-year-old, I don't think is realistic to help them. They expect them to be perfect at finances. And then the goal is to help these guys build and build and build during the spring to add another $3,000 to $5,000 to withholdings. If they're going out with $10,000, they're fully confident going into the summer. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt. So I think it's so great to have that mentality of December 15th to get them to 5K. And then it even gives a little bit of leeway before you're in banquet that, for a big January push to, maybe last minute January 15th, have that money in there. But I think it's so important that we're in unison. We have this language because I feel like I haven't always believed it fully in the past. But as I thought about it, I thought, all right, well, I guess it makes sense. Why number 3 is think about what it does to their confidence and their summer experience. June week 1, them having no money, right? Think about how much money is actually coming in for a new branch manager in May. Not much. I know there's some Mays, I don't know if you guys have experienced it, but where I didn't have much money at all. So you think about how they are mentally. I know how I've been mentally sometimes going into the summer. Bad May, stressed, worried, and that's as a veteran, like Hall of Fame good manager, and still having like doubts and stresses at times. So you have to understand that if they're in front of some of their biggest training classes in June week 1, week 2 for Wisconsin, and they're like depleted in their withholdings, and they haven't like built the team yet to make a lot of money, they're probably pretty stressed. And think about how they're feeling running training, knowing that they're broke and knowing that they have to get these people to sell to pay their bills, as opposed to build a business. It's so different having them there in a positive mentality to run training because they're excited, they're building a business, as opposed to worrying about expenses. So I think that's real important to understand. And if we've had doubts at times for a bad month, imagine like a new rookie manager who's been here for a year or two, who's going to run their first business, hoping they're going to do well, and not doing very well in the first month. Now, quotable statement here is our division's summer headaches are prevented by the discipline and toughness we coach our LITs to have now. I call them LITs, but it's MITs. It's the same thing. So our division headaches, think about everything that happens. A lot is prevented by the discipline and toughness we coach our leaders to have now. They have money withholdings. If they're good at training, good at interviews, confident, feeling great about the business, it's going to handle a lot of headaches later as a district manager, as you develop a district, or a division manager.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, our division summer headaches are prevented by the discipline and toughness that we coach our LITs to have now. So now actually matters. Now should actually be grind time. Not till midnight, not 7 days a week, but it should be serious. And I think if we take off in the fall, we're doing our future branches a disservice. So our branch performance, I think a lot of time goes back to our fall habits. And you think about if they're in and out of the business, if they're not making much off AM pay, they're not held to a standard in selling in the fall, are they even going to make it to run a branch? So even with Lake, I wrote down as an example, he had a negative account because of being in Rome and not much in withholdings. So he was in Rome, that was the excuse, but he didn't have really any money. He had a negative account on May 17th. So he got back end of April and no school. So he was studying abroad. So he was in his office working with me even. 35 minutes away from his DM, running, even training with me, with some of his people. And he had his first positive paycheck on May 17th for $115 after he'd been working for 3 weeks. So you think about, even we get discouraged at times, like how 1 week can really feel pretty long, right? Imagine a new manager is going out there for 2 weeks and then 3 weeks. Like, that's a lot of headaches and a lot of things that we can prevent based on what we do now to help them get their withholdings up. So May 17th, he had a $115 paycheck. Thankfully, popped off a good training class. They did $6K. So May 24th, he had a $1,000 paycheck, but he still saw negative charges, right? Branches don't always understand, like, to run a business, it costs money. So, there's 6 negative charges that come out. So he made $1,000 there. So after working for 4 full weeks, he finally earned $1,000 that probably had to catch up on cell phone bills, probably had to catch up on like food, in whatever situation he was in to help him get back mentally. And then May 31st, had an $834 paycheck. Then finally June 7th, things started popping. And that's even, I think, early for some branch managers, and some take a little bit longer. So, I really believe we almost lost Lake if he wasn't running training with me, and if he didn't get serious right away, and then there goes the top 10 branch manager, and then future district manager. So we really want our leaders in training at the end of the summer asking the question, what's up with my 6K in startup? Where is that? When do I get that? That's cool. Like, how cool is it, Liz, for you to be like, oh yeah, I have like $4,000 in there still. That's great. Even like Lake, some of his released, and now he has like, $6,000 withholdings. But, I don't think we've always done things right in my district, and even as a division at times with like helping our people get enough in withholdings. But how cool would it be if every manager that we put out in the division was going, oh yeah, when do I get that 6K? Just added to the withholdings. So that's why number 3 is having lots of confidence to run training in June. And then the fourth reason why is withholdings forces them to sell, and the side effect is building withholdings. So another thing Mike mentioned to me was, well, we have some people on our team, we have a manager on the team right now who's only at 15K in sales. Yeah, people going out and done well with 15K in sales? Sure. But it's not normal, right? So when they sell a lot, it builds their confidence in themselves and also being able to make money and winning the company trip at the end of the summer and selling it straight 50%. And helps them as a manager in the future. If they have to hit President's Banquet or a trip, they can just go and sell. Also, more stories to use. And again, I'm kind of preaching the choir in some of this stuff, but I think it's good to remember that that's right. When they have a lot of withholdings, it means they had to sell a ton, right? Because, they're not making a ton off assistant manager pay, right? So they have to go and sell a good amount. And it keeps them relevant, it keeps them good, it keeps them confident in running interviews, running PCs, teaching reps how to do well. And then there's more stories to use. And then also there's more adversity they had to overcome. I feel like when someone has withholdings built up, it's because they had to go through a lot of challenges in selling, a lot of big pushes, a lot of ups and downs that we just know it's even more magnified as a manager, all the ups and downs, right? So being a rep is easy, right? Being an assistant is really easy. And then having to run an office, there's some more challenges. And then more solutions. I find that this generation, and then, of course, I'm summarizing, blanketing, these people, but I feel like they keep asking for a lot of answers or a lot of questions, and I feel like they're not solution finders. At least I found in my office, all these young people, it's like they're like, what do I do? I didn't know what to do. Well, what are a few of your options? Pick one, right? How can I help you think? I feel like it's more of our job to help them think and find solutions instead of being stuck. And if they're stuck right now, and I have a couple assistants in my office who are supposed to go out as branches that I'm unsure and I'm scared about, because if they can't figure out how to sell now and find solutions to make calls and sell $1,000, what are they going to do as a branch, right? There's a lot bigger challenges. So that's my fourth why. So action steps that I want, and then I'm going to throw out there, and we can discuss it a little bit. But action steps is that I want our people to all have all their bonuses saved, all their bonuses. And you think about it, if they haven't run a branch yet, their bonus is only 10 or 15%, right? It's not the full 20%. So you think about it, if they're only selling 1,000 a week, only 1,000 a week, which is high for most of our leaders in training right now, their bonus is only 10% because they aren't at 150K in sales, right? So let's say it's 10% of the 4K a month. That's $1,200. Did I do that math right? Right? Yeah, it's $400 a month towards the next few months. That's $1,200, right? So that's not going to get them from like 2K to 5K real quick. And then all AM pay saved. Let's say the AM is at 1% to help them hit their bonus early, easier, right? And they're in the office a decent amount. If your office is doing 20K, which is more than most offices right now, in new business, that's only $200 a month. So again, it's another $600. So if our MIT right now, and I have a couple examples, if they're 2,500 withholdings right now, which I have 2 for supposed to running branches, 2,500, they get 600 off AM pay, and then they get another 1,200 off saving their bonus. That's only at 4,300 by January 15th as like a last resort. I don't know. I'm worried. I don't know if I want them to go out. Like, I don't want them to fail, because you think about what it does to the culture of our division when you have branches that don't do well, right? If most branches aren't doing well because they didn't get forced to save money and they weren't forced to sell, think about what that does to the opportunity that we apparently have here, right? Even though it's not vector, it is their choices and then our focus and urgency on them. Because it does seem like summer's a long ways away. It does, right? But actually, decisions are starting to happen, like 2019 happens now. So what kind of culture do we want to create in our division, right? It all comes back to the cash and confidence, which is having a lot of withholdings and selling a ton. And if we really want to build this long-lasting leaders, right? This group of leaders that are long-lasting, they run branches, they run districts, and they thrive, we need serious withholdings now, because too many managers, I feel like we micromanage and we like, okay, it's just like another rep or another branch. But it's like, no, we want to build layers. I feel like that's how we get to the $10 million division, is that we build layers. So those are my thoughts on withholdings. So